Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hello out there. Thank you all for joining us today on our inaugural episode of Galley Gab Fest. Hi, I'm Virginia Stanley. Introduce ourselves, friends.
My name is Lainey Mays. So happy to be here. Happy New Year.
And I'm Grace Caternolo. Happy New Year, everyone.
Wow, we're back. It's a new year. And we're really glad that so many of you have joined us today. We always try something new, and we're turning a page. And we thought, what better way to turn a page and start some new things than to do a Galley Gab Fest? So we were doing the Galley Book Club, Galley Club, but we think that was fun. Never say never. Might do it again, but we only have so much time. You only have so much time. And so we think we should go back to the tried and true, just buzzing about books, gabbing about galleys, hence the name. So here we are. And Happy New Year, as Lainey and Grace have both said. We hope that all good things, good health, most of all, to all of you in 2023. Now, we have so many things to talk about. So we have books to talk about, but we want to tell you about a few really cool things that we have coming up, and we don't want these to. We don't want to wait to tell you about these. So the first thing I want to mention is our interview tomorrow, January 11th at 2:00 on Library Love Fest. Barbara Jenko, beloved librarian and friend, will be interviewing Ari Melber. Ari Melber, uh, Emmy Award-winning host of The Beat on MSNBC, and he has written the foreword to the January 6th report, which HarperCollins has published. There are some other publications out there. Ari's foreword is so compelling, so stirring, so accessible, reads like narrative nonfiction, and we are so honored that he has made time in his very, very busy schedule to come on Library Love Fest and speak with us and Barbara about the report, specifically speaking to his forward, and what comes next, what should happen, what will happen, God only knows. But Ari Melber is brilliant, and it is just so exciting that he is coming on. So I think we're showing that, or maybe we did show it, I don't know. But we will have in the little chat room, there'll be a little link there so that you can get more information on that. But that's Facebook Live tomorrow, Wednesday, January 11th at 2:00. So super, super jazzed about that. Lainey, I feel like you want to say something.
Always. I literally could talk to a brick wall. So that's probably just the look that I have always.
This is Gab Fest. You can say anything you want.
That's right. It's a
think
Gab Fest. God's sake.
appropriately named for us. No, I don't have anything to say. I'm excited. I will say there's some love for Ari in the comments. Elizabeth Lynn said, "How many rap lyrics will he drop during the interview?" That always gives me a chuckle.
He's amazing. We watch him every night, and he's just so brilliant and so funny and so deadpan sometimes, and then he's just breaks out in that great big smile of his, and he drops those lyrics, and it's just amazing. You learn so much from him, and so again, can't say it enough, super jazzed about this. So mark your calendars, mark your clocks, and see you tomorrow for that. Now, onward we go, and then we will talk about a few more events and then get to some books. So, Lainey, do you want to talk about Writers to Watch?
Yeah. Do we have the graphic? If not, I can pull it up. We are doing a new event as well. So we have Galley Gab Fest once a month. Thank you, Grace. And that's just us chatting, telling you about what we need to tell you about. And then we have a new program called Writers to Watch, which we went over this with a fine-tooth comb. We love this logo so much with the little quill and the star coming through, because these are our authors that we just want to put the spotlight on. And we're very excited to have this inaugural group of writers for our January event. It'll be once a month. It might not be every third Thursday, but you'll know well in advance. We'll put it in our newsletter. And we're going to have Gail Sukiyama, Nicole Chung, Jasmine Hakes, and Tao Tai. We're so excited. All of these books. We had our run through with them like last week, I guess. I don't know. All the days come together. But last week we had a run through with them, and that I wish we had recorded that because it was just so lovely to see them all. Like, they didn't know each other, but it felt like they did. They were just having such a great conversation. So if that's any indication, this is going to be an amazing event. You can bring a cocktail. They've already said they're planning to, so you can bring a cocktail and meet us at 7 Eastern. Hopefully that's a time when everybody can kind of get away from work and enjoy a night of literary delights. And this is on Crowdcast, where you are now, a different event. We'll put that link in the chat. And it's on Facebook Live, but I just wanted to do a little plug for Crowdcast. Even if you know the time it's going to be and go to Facebook, I encourage you to sign up for notifications on Crowdcast because we have a series going. So you'll get notifications, I think, a week in advance and then the day of for every Writers to Watch and every Galley Gab Fest. And we get your email. So if we need to get in touch with you, we can. So I would personally sign up. I'll put it in the chat. And even if you go to Facebook to watch it, you can RSVP there too. Whatever works. But we would love to have your name if you want reminders and up to the minute information about the new books for the next month. I think that's it. We're very excited.
Super jazzed about this. And yes, echoing what Lainey said, I wish we had recorded that because I think in the very beginning, everybody was a little bit like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And we're like, listen, it's us. We're easy. And we just want you to have fun. And it's a great opportunity to reach librarians and talk about your books. And like Lainey said, by the end of it, we not only did we have such a great time and a lot of laughs, we also changed the whole format of how we're gonna do it. So you'll see. So pour a cocktail or a mocktail, whatever, whatever races your engine, and join us because it's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to hear about some really, really wonderful books by these really compelling writers.
We have other events coming up too. Starting in February, Virginia will be buzzing on February 8th with Library Journal. It's a spring preview. And Virginia's talking about books that will not be in the other exciting event we have in February. So you should register for that. And then if you've been here a while, you know about the world famous book buzz on the 14th. Virginia, do you want to chat about that?
We've been doing this every year for the last, I don't know, handful of years. And it's fun. It's really fun. We just take over the whole entire webcast. We have 75 minutes. So you don't have to be crazy rushing, but we cram in as many books as we can without having a heart attack. This is just like, as Grace said, there are 2 separate webinars. These will both be on Library Journal. The books I talk about on the 8th will not be included in the books that we will be talking about on the 14th. So no doubling up there because we just have so many books, so little time. I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be fun. It's our world famous book buzz part 119. So there we go. Come and join us.
That little riff, so many books, so many time, that should be like our theme song.
It should, except I'm going to get yelled at because it's a real song. Go ahead, Lane, you want to talk about the podcast, and then we will get to the books.
Yeah, sure. Oh, just a comment from, who was that? Janet Lockhart said she finished The Brightest Star. Now she wants to see every Anime Wong movie ever made. And I was like, sounds like good research to me. You might as well get watching.
No kidding.
And then someone said they want to hula right into that book right now. So you've got lots to read, and they're all available. So you can read and come with your questions. To our Writers to Watch. And I'm excited for the February 14th, our famous book buzz. Okay, podcast. So I don't have anything to show you because we're still working on something, but we are reinvigorating our podcast so that it is a little more, a change. We want to change. So we've taken a little bit of a break because we were throwing a lot of author interviews at you, which were fantastic, but I think that maybe it's a lot to listen to in a month every week. So We are now going to have 2 episodes, one at the first of the month. That will be on the first of every month. You'll have all month to listen to it. It'll be a little longer, not too long, don't worry, but you can listen while you're in the car on the way to work or stocking the shelves at the library, whatever. And it will be us talking about, new books coming up, behind the scenes, more stuff about our interviews of writers to watch. We're like, ooh, this would be good behind the scenes. Maybe if we have extra questions, we can bring it to the podcast. We'll have people from Harper on to talk, Andrew Caberline, who works in the marketing audio department. He is fantastic, and he's a big hit on the podcast. So maybe we'll invite him back. We'll have a lot of fun with it. And I think it'll be a little more behind the scenes. A reminder that we have a voicemail if you ever want to leave us a message of something you want to talk about. We're opening our mailbag to you. We will answer anything we can. So that will be the first of the month. And Virginia is doing an interview with an author for that one, for our new episode back. And that's with Connie Briscoe. Her book, oh my goodness, I'm blanking. You Never Know. We're going to talk about that. And Virginia's going to interview her. So we're very excited. And, it'll have other things in the podcast as well. So the first of every month, but we're also keeping our library reads episode. That's something cool we do. It'll be more of a mini episode halfway through the month when the library reads list comes out. So it'll keep our usual, author calls in and talks about how they heard about making the list. It'll be fun. And if you have any suggestions, we're here to listen to you, whatever the podcast can do to make it more fun. So I'm excited about it. It'll be a new podcast, and we're gonna have a new piece of art that goes on each cover that we're still working on. I don't have anything to show you, but very soon.
Podcast redo, reinvigorated. All right. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to Connie Briscoe. We finally nailed down our date for our convo, and it's going to be really cool. She wrote with Harper a long time ago, and then she went to a different house. Now she's back, and this book is really cool, and you're going to love it. Really going to love it. You read the first page, and that's it. Say goodnight, nurse. You're not going to be able to do anything else. I promise. Okay, are we ready to talk about books? Yes? We are. I can't hear anybody. Okay.
We are indeed.
Grace, can you just go back for 1 second, because I don't think the graphics were up before, and I want everybody to get a visual. Ari Melber, hello, and Barbara Jenko. So everybody take a look at this. The January 6th report, forward by Ari Melber. Tomorrow, 2:00, Facebook Live, Library Love Fest. Yeah, can't wait. So excited. Okay, now the first book up is Mother's Instinct by Barbara Abel. So this is a Harper Via paperback original, and it is soon to be a U.S. motion picture starring Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain. Do we have the picture of those two all dressed up in their characters? If we do, Grace,
let me pull that up.
Super cool. Oh my God, who doesn't love Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain? And this is so juicy and so chewy and so perfect for book clubs. It's about these two couples that have been best friends and neighbors, and something horrific happens. They both have a child, and something happens to one of them. So these couples are in their 30s. It's David and Leticia, and Sylvan and Tiffin. So those are the two couples, and they have been, having a wonderful life for themselves and being wonderful neighbors and wonderful friends. And their sons, Milo and Maxime, are born the same year. They're just as close, and they are sort of like brothers, but Maxime is killed in an accident, and it just devastates the 4 adults and Milo. And there's everything that you can imagine that goes along with this. There's grief, there's bitterness, there's jealousy, envious, feelings, and anger, and everything. And it changes naturally their relationship, and so they put on sort of a facade, but there's really a lot simmering. And then mysterious accidents begin to happen to the other child, Milo, and his mother becomes increasingly paranoid about the other couple's intentions toward her son. And what was once civility is now becoming outward hostility. And she's trying to protect her son from harm. And is she imagining these things? What's happening? It's the title, Mother's Instinct, is perfect, and it's just this thriller that goes into, you know, great character development, and you can see both sides, and you just don't know what's going on. And it's gripping, and it's just, you'll fly through these pages. The author is a Belgian author, and this is her first book to be translated into English. Here's a great quote from Samantha Bailey, who's a best-selling author of the book Woman on the Edge, and she says, "Mother's Instinct had me in its grips from the first page to the last. This gut-wrenching, evocative thriller is brilliantly structured and written so well that I felt the characters' pain and panic in my bones. I was completely entranced by the story of two families struggling with an unbearable tragedy and an astonishing and jaw-dropping ending." Yipper! Mother's Instinct. How cool. Look at those pictures. Isn't that great? It's just of a time, and I love these kinds of books. I love these kinds of stories. So super excited about this. Lots of in-house buzz on this one.
And Maureen Roberts asked, is it historical? I don't know if that was before you started talking about the book, but just to clarify.
Is it historical? No.
Okay. That was just a question from Maureen. All right. Let's see. Also, the Edelweiss collection I put at the bottom of the Crowdcast page, and also I just put it in the Facebook link, so should be good to go. All right, Blonde Identity. This one is super exciting, and I kid you not, I was going to talk about this book after I saw all the love on Galley Chat, and I was like, well, I have to talk about it today because everybody's so excited about it. But also, I kid you not, last night my friend called me, and not even speaking about this, speaking about another book, she was like, oh, and Allie Carter, I love them so much. I'm like, the love is just there. So she came up twice in my week, and I just had to share that. So Allie Carter is the best-selling author of novels that are just like the perfect example of like action, adventure, YA romance. She's written for more than a decade, and she had her first original screenplay, A Castle for Christmas. It was recently #1 on Netflix. And this book is a big, exciting book for us because she's bursting on the scene with a spy kind of thriller, but in the adult realm. And so it's fast paced and it's really hilarious. There's this road trip with a woman. She has amnesia and discovers that she's an identical twin sister to a rogue spy. So she teams up with a grumpy, rugged operative to stay alive. And all her readers that have grown up with Allie are perfectly poised to buy this adult rom-com and a little more romance and spice with it. A lot of crossover appeal, I think, for this one. Anyone who loves like comedic action movies like Romancing the Stone or The Lost City, The Spy Who Dumped Me, perfect for you. A lot of action, adventure, and has the classic tropes. There's fake relationship, mistaken identity, and amnesia. And Rachel Hawkins actually said, spies, amnesia, and banter that'll make you chant kiss, kiss, kiss. No one wants an action rom-com no one writes an action rom-com quite like Allie Carter. And then actually I was looking at Allie's Instagram earlier, and it said she was posting about the book, so you can see kind of a little trailer there, but it says, The Blonde Identity isn't just my favorite book I've ever written, it's also the one that means the most to me. If I'd tell you I'd love you, but then I'd have to kill you is the book that changed my life, then The Blonde Identity is the book that saved it. So that's from Allie herself. Very excited about this one, and the cover is just fantastic.
They just released this jacket, and isn't it sweet? This is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. We're so excited when they announced this. You all know Ann Patchett, what a genius she is, what a brilliant storyteller she is. And this is a new novel that's coming out in August. And it's about family and love and growing up. It's about a woman who is looking back on her life. It takes place in northern Michigan over this idyllic summer that is spent with a community theater company. The company is called Tom Lake. So in the spring of 2020, we meet this woman, Laura, and her three daughters. They come home to the family's orchard in northern Michigan, and they're out picking cherries, and they beg their mother to tell them the story of a man named Peter Duke, who was a famous actor with whom their mother had shared a stage and a romance years before at this theater company called Tom Lake. So she revisits the past. She goes back, and in her telling, her daughters then sort of examine their own lives and their relationship with their mother. And it's about youthful love and married love, and it's also about the lives that our parents had before they were our parents. And so it talks about what it means to be happy when the world is falling apart. And like all of Anne Patchett's novels, it's weaves together insight about family dynamics, great storytelling, wonderfully drawn characters, and just insightful and beautiful, as only Anne Patchett can do. Well, not only Anne Patchett, but let's face it, she's pretty damn good. So we're so excited. This is August 2023, 300,000 announced print, Tom Lake, Anne Patchett, can't wait.
Oh, another Susan Wiggs. We're very excited. This author is a library favorite. She is such a big supporter of libraries, and we usually have her on for every book, and it's always a delight to talk to Susan. But this one is fun. It's a little different than her last couple, but still with the same Susan Wiggs heartfelt center and kind of witty storytelling that we love. It is set in an idyllic California beach town, but the town is full of secrets. It's graduation day at Thornton Academy, and at Thornton, the students are really worldly and overindulged kids who live in gated communities. And the class valedictorian her name is Nikki, and she's a surfer's daughter who is there on a scholarship. But to the shock of everyone in the audience, she veers off script in her speech at the commencement address and reveals a secret that breaks open the whole community. And so it really, shakes the foundation of this whole town. And she kind of pits her against all these wealthy families when all of their money kind of runs the town. And the new notoriety sends her into exile for years, where she finds fame but not fortune, and overseas she's a competitive surfer until personal tragedy makes her return back to this town. And so now she kind of has to rebuild this future in this town she came from, where she kind of shook everything up, and the town has not forgotten what she's done. And so I don't know, it's a fun one. It's different for Susan. I'm excited. Kind of goes back a little to other previous books. And Barbara O'Neill, who wrote The Place of Wonder, said, "What happens when you dream one thing and something else comes your way? This story is rich with life and danger and ultimately hope. Fans of Colleen Hoover will gobble it up." It's a great quote. So yeah, that one is out in June.
Okay, that wonderful smiling face. This author has a really cool website, Lucy Barker. It's lucybarkerwrites.com. And her book is called The Other Side of Mrs. Wood. It goes on sale in June 2023. I guess I should stop saying 2023 because all the books we're talking about are coming out this year. I don't know. This is historical debut, and it's about the rivalry between two female mediums. This takes place during Victorian England. It's set in Victorian England, and it's about the obsession with spiritualism, and it's about these two female mediums. So even though it's taking place in Victorian England, it's very much a modern story. It's It's propulsive and it's focusing on bold feminist themes. And it's a compelling portrait of a mature woman defending her career who is determined to protect herself and all she has worked for in her life. There's an interesting piece on Lucy Barker's site where she talks about how she, she just loves everything Victorian, and she explores the world of mediumship in the 1870s London. And this novel is inspired by a true story. Also really cool about that website is that you can go through and see how the journey that she took to get published, the submission process, the reviewing process. That it's so interesting. You can go down the rabbit hole. It's super fun. But she talks about how she got her book submitted and shined up and accepted, and agents, and it's very interesting. But anyway, back to this story. So the author says that she's always found the idea of the other side very fascinating. Is it real? And she talks specifically about in terms of women living within this very patriarchal society, and this was one of the only professional fields that offered them any opportunity to make some money and rise through social ranks, and that the patrons were often men. And a successful woman medium could have a successful life and support herself and move freely about the city without the hassle of a husband. So it's really cool, interesting. She's done her homework. It's propulsive historical fiction. It's The Lost Apothecary, The Mermaid, and Mrs. Hancock. That kind of rich history, and just dripping with fun, upmarket commercial appeal, female friendships, really fun, psychologically twisty. Go check out LucyBarkerWrites.com and you'll learn more about her and her writing journey and this book.
Okay, I'm so excited about this. This is For the Culture by Clancy Miller, and this comes out the 2nd of May. And as someone who is not savvy or even competent in the kitchen, I love reading about food. So this was such a joy, and it's a great mix of recipes and wisdom. So this is an anthology made up of 66 interviews, 48 recipes, and 5 personal essays from Clancy, who is a chef and food writer and the founder of For the Culture magazine. So this highlights Black women and femmes who are molding and changing the hospitality industry and the food industry as we know it. And it has a really great diverse cast of professions. So you're not just reading from chefs, you're reading from, bakers and mixologists and hotel owners. And they all have this common factor of food, which, as you know, and I know, is this really communal and healing thing that brings people together. And on her Instagram, Clancy described this as a love letter to Black women and femmes in food and wine, as well as an anthology that she wishes she had at 21. I just think this is a very unique book and has so many different facets to it. And one of the stories I really loved reading about was Leah Penniman, who is this farmer and the author of Farming While Black, if you're familiar, and she uses these Afro-Indigenous, Afro-Indigenous techniques like polyculturing and cover crops to regenerate the land. And I just learned so much about reading her essay in particular that was really interesting. And so we get these recipes, we get these interviews, but Clancy also pays homage to, the women who came before our contemporary folks, and she writes these personal essays about them. So you get some history as well, and I think this is really just a must-have anthology. And again, that comes out in May. And the next book I have to talk about is Boy Parts. This was so popular on TikTok, and people were raving about it. They love an unhinged character, and we are bringing this to a US audience. It was previously published by a small press in the UK, and I was just really personally excited when we heard about this at launch. This is a dark and piercing debut, and it's very psychological, but it's also humorous, and it's about Irina, who is an art world outcast, and she's on a break from her lousy job, and she's just taking these explicit photos of kind of, boring average men that she meets on the streets. And this catches the eye of some important people, and she's invited to show her work at a London art gallery. And you'd think this would be a great opportunity, you know, she's kind of like turning her life around, she's working this job she hates, but instead she just kind of like spirals. So she's this like unhinged, obsessive, manipulative character. So if you love books with an unreliable narrator, or if you love to hate a character, which I do, I love a Fleabag type of character. This is the book for you. And I just want to leave you with this quote because I thought it was really powerful. Hallucinogenic, electric, and sharp, Boy Parts is a whirlwind exploration of gender, class, and power. And that was said by Jessica Andrews, author of Saltwater. So we're really excited to be publishing the US version of this, and I am very excited about it. Next, we have The List.
The List by Yomi Aragoki. This is coming out in September. It's a debut, and it is about a high-profile female journalist and her fiance. Her world is turned upside down when her fiance's name turns up in a viral social media post. She's a celebrated journalist. She's set to marry the love of her life. They are the it couple. The social media, the couple's goal of social media, they seem to have it all. That is until one morning when they both wake up to the same message. Oh my God, have you seen the list? And so sets off this book in motion. It all began with a whisper network and somehow morphed into an anonymous account posting allegations on social media. Now, this one would be the first person to be all over this, posting it and retweeting it and calling for the men to be fired, except the person who is being called out is the man she's supposed to marry. So it's funny. It's got a lot of sharp insight. And it's about secrets, and it's about the internet, and it's about what happens and what do we do with these things, and how complicated life can get with the push of a button. So it's it's thrilling, it's fast moving, and it's also a book that really just makes you stop and think. And so we're excited to have this book on the list. We're excited to have the list on the list, and September can't come soon enough. Next,
The List on the List.
the list on the list.
I just want to quickly answer somebody. I think Tony asked about Susan Wigg's e-galleys. I looked it up, and don't hold me to this because it could change, but it's very soon. I just want to say e-galley should be up for downloading. I did my best.
Maybe, thank you, Lainey. I love this jacket for the Gulf. It's so beautiful. Is that haunting? Maybe we should stop for 1 second because I know that people have questions about galleys. As always, we will do our best to get a physical galley to you, but we are going more and more in the e-galley direction. So we can certainly whitelist anybody who wants to be whitelisted. I know everybody loves, well, not everybody, but I know a lot of people like paper. I do too. And I don't know, I find that I retain more when I read a physical galley. I would love to know what people think about that. Do you retain more if you read a physical galley, or am I just weird? Anyway, we'll do our very best to get you a galley if we can. And if we can't, we apologize. It's out of our hands, but we'll try. And there's always usually the e-galley. So just wanted to put that out there. So, send us an email, and we'll do what we can, and we'll let you know one way or the other.
Cool.
Sorry, Lainey.
No, thank you. This is a beautiful cover. Like you said, I can't stop looking at it. And immediately I thought of Valentine from this cover because of the colors and all of the beautiful blending, but also because this is set in Texas in the 70s. So this book, The Gulf by Rachel Cochran, I'm very excited about. It's a literary debut thriller. Like I said, Gulf Coast of Texas in the 70s. It's a town called Parson, and the book comes out June 13th. So Parson, Texas is a small town. It just had a devastating hurricane. It's the middle of the Vietnam War. It's got a lot of things happening in this small town, and we have 29-year-old Lou diligently renovating a decaying old mansion for someone, Miss Kate. This is the elderly neighbor who has always been like a mother to her. And Lou is also doing this, but also doing the renovations, but also mourning her brother's death in Vietnam. And then suddenly she kind of thinks like, oh, okay, it'll be more smooth sailing. I can really take time to get over all of this. But then suddenly Miss Kate is murdered, and no one but Lou seems to really care about finding the murderer. Um, so the situation becomes even more complicated when Joanna, who is Miss Kate's long estranged daughter and Lou's first love, arrives back in Parson. Not really to learn more about her mother's death, but she's more interested in that house that she's renovating. And the arrival really unearths a lot of secrets involving town history, and the residents wonder why they didn't want to figure out who did it. But it's really gorgeously written and propulsive, and there's a conversation it creates about race, gender issues, and reevaluating American history as well. We also have this these two women who one used to be in love with, and they're back in the same town now. So how is that going to play out? This one I think is going to be a special one, and I'm excited for everyone to dive in.
Okay, next we have Homebodies by Tembi Denton Hurst, who is a staff writer at Strategist. She covers beauty and books, but she's also written for Nylon, Them, and Elle. And this one follows Mickey, and she is a Black lesbian writer who is on paper thriving. She has a job in media that makes her feel and look very successful, but she's exhausted, and she comes home to a partner who takes care of her, but there's not really like this spark between them anymore. And she just feels like things are not quite what she wants, but what she should want, or how she should be happy. But all of this is kind of flipped on its head when she's unexpectedly fired. She rightfully lashes out and writes this like an expose about her former workplace, kind of detailing like the racism and sexism she experienced. And she hopes that, writing this will cause some change. And unfortunately, she's met with this silence. It's not well received, or really received at all. At this point, she's feeling defeated and moves home to a place that she never thought would be an escape from her New York lifestyle. But without the stress and the drama, she feels really enticed by this, simple living, the calmness she's feeling from being at home. And she also starts to, poke at a relationship with an old flame. So she's finding this peace, but of course it couldn't last, because would that make a good book? Maybe not. And she's thrown into the public eye when her letter that she thought fell on, deaf ears basically goes viral. So she now has to deal with the response that she thought she wanted initially, when she finally just got a moment of silent peace. And I think that this book is so vital and important. I think it's a really ongoing topic in media. The idea of working while Black in a dominant, like predominantly white workplace. And I think that it's going to be a really great book club topic because of this. And Denton Hurst like approaches this with a lot of nuance and complexity that I think like readers are really going to enjoy. So I hope you keep an eye out for this one. I believe the eGalley is up, which reminds me, someone did just ask about the eGalley for Ann Patchett's Tom Lake, and is not yet on Edelweiss or NetGalley. But Lainey, do you know if that'll be up soon? I'm not sure if they've had any word about it yet. Don't mean to put you
I'd
on
have
the
to
spot.
look it up, but we can look it up and try
Yeah.
to get, we can put it back in the chat.
Yeah, and this was a newer announced one. We only heard about this a few months ago. So that was Homebodies, and that is on sale in May. And then this one is Charles Soule Endless Vessel, and this is on sale in June. And this is from the author of Star Wars Light of Jedi, and I think he did a really good job at like genre bending and going into different genres. So I think you should be very excited about this. And this is set in a world that's similar to ours, a few years in the future. And there is, in some sense, a new pandemic. Oops, sorry about that, a new pandemic that they're calling the gray, and it's this depression fog that people are falling into and they can't get out. So the book follows a scientist named Lily, and she's based in Hong Kong, and she's determined to hold on to this like little happiness that she has that most people don't have at all anymore. And she's drawn to something that is, pulling her forward to go on this unknown path. And she wonders if she's found this one thing, this endless vessel, this key to happiness. And this is her journey, and it's fantastical and action packed, and the story of hope and love that's really interesting and beautifully written. And I think since the beginning of the pandemic, people's mental health has really been suffering. And I think this is drawing a lot more attention to the issue. And I think this book deals with depression and the yearning for hope and happiness in a way that's going to connect to a lot of readers. And I think it's really topical and timely. And I think that it's going to be a great choice for book clubs as well.
Charles Soule is such a cool person. Like all the work he does on comics are really cool to me.
I think it's like a man who wears many hats in this case.
Before, I just want to interrupt very quickly, Virginia, because we have answers about your question, and I don't know if you want me to read some of them.
Yeah, do
read
tell. What you got?
So let's see. So you asked about e-galley versus print. So yeah, yes, I prefer paper. Jana Lockhart said, "You're not weird." Marianne Wolf wrote a book about how print is different from electronic that agrees with you, Virginia. Reader Come Home is the book. Jennifer, absolutely. I read in digital form. I tend to to zone out, and when a print galley slides off your lap while you're sitting outside, you don't worry about completely destroying it. Catherine Healy said, physical galleys are still my favorite, especially when I want to flip back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of paper. Let's see, back on Crowdcast, because I lost my place on Facebook. So let's go to Crowdcast. So I see a lot of like, yeah, I do I appreciate a balance, reading digital and paper. Thank you for all you do, connecting us with new books. You're right about retaining from physical galleys. Yeah, studies show. Tony, I used to prefer physical, but now I'm used to ebooks, and I like the ability to search in my Kindle. I do enjoy a book physical, but I am getting used to forced ebooks. I also, phone is easier to hold and it's more portable. So we have a good mix, I think. I think a lot of physical, like more enjoy them when I'm at home and on the run digital. So I think if I am not putting words in anyone's mouth, I see like physical is like, I'm super excited. I love that. But I also like the ability to quickly download something I want to read right now and take it with me. So it's a little bit of a mix. And people also mentioned audiobooks. And I put the link in for all of the available audio e-galleys, which we don't have a ton of, but that process takes a long time. If we have them, it's in that catalog. So I shared that, and you can get those early.
Yeah, people also mentioned the best thing about like a Kindle is that you can't get distracted on the upcoming page or go and peek at the ending. And I do this because I love reading cringy things in books, but I'll like have this physical reaction where I'm like, no, I have to just see how this is resolved. And it's probably my worst trait is like reading ahead and spoiling things for myself. So that is a good part about Kindle for sure.
That's interesting. I know people who read the end. I mean, there may be people out there that do this. No judgment. Just as I hope you don't judge me because I like paper. But some people read the end of the book first. Like they have to know how it ends, and then they go back and read the beginning.
Yeah. Some people do.
We're all different.
We have a question about LibLearnX. If we will be there.
Will we be there? We will not be there. No, Harper is not attending LibLearnX. Our next conference will be ALA Annual in Chicago. So that's where you'll find us. Hauling books. So come to our booth, but no, we won't be at LibLearnX. So we'll have to make our hurricanes right here in Brooklyn and Queens. Right, Lainey? Right, Grace?
Oh yeah, I'm happy to jump on a Zoom with anyone at LibLearnX and get a hurricane in my hand.
Wouldn't that be so much fun? And we can make some beignets. Oh my God, that would be, oh my God, now I'm hungry. Okay. My only joke and then I'll continue because we have 2 books left to talk about, or maybe 3. And it's 2:49, so not bad for us. Is that I like to say that the only thing I retain more with physical than E. And when I read an E, I find myself saying the only thing I retain is water. Okay, that's my funny. Now, here I go. Have we addressed all the questions?
Yes, the only 2 things that came up that I thought were interesting. Well, Maureen Roberts said that a contestant on Jeopardy the other night fessed up to reading the end of every book. So there you go.
Oh, okay, cool.
But someone did say that they appreciate audio e-galleys and they have and the decision to do more e-galleys that saves money and a tree, so they understand.
Yeah.
And then Julie said, for me, the feature that shows what % of the book I've completed motivates me, just 10% more. And I like that too. I get that.
Yeah.
I love that when it tells you the minutes too. It's great when you're like about to run out of the house, or I'm on my commute and I have like 20 minutes left in the train. I can finish this chapter.
Then you end up in a different borough. That happened to me once. I ended up in Brooklyn when I was going to work. Like, oh my God, where am I? Horrible. That's true though. That happened. I forget what I was reading, but I was so into the book that when I looked up, I was like, what bridge am I on? Why am I outside? I'm supposed to be under the ground somewhere. And now I'm in Brooklyn. It was like Stephen King.
That's a great marketing strategy.
I know.
So good. I ended up in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Speaking of Brooklyn, segue. Brooklyn crime novel by Jonathan Latham. Oh my goodness. How exciting is this? I know I'm talking about all these books that are coming out in the fall, but why not? So, Jonathan Latham, Motherless Brooklyn, Fortress of Solitude, among others. And this is a book that takes place in 1970s Brooklyn. And it's about community and crime and gentrification, and tracing over 50 years of life in this neighborhood, Borum Hill, which is where he grew up, specifically Dean Street. And this is, he's explored this before in other books, but since Fortress of Solitude, he felt like he really needed to go back and sort of explore some more about race and gentrification in this neighborhood, and what he and his family were enmeshed in. And so this is the setting, the time, the place. You meet a lot of characters. They're mostly kids. They're black and white. There are 2 crimes perpetuated by children. That's at the core of the book. And but the larger crime that the book explores is essentially gentrification, and why families were pushed out of that street and out of that neighborhood and out of the city, and who did the pushing and why. There are some great quotes already in Colin McCann, Let the Great World Spin. He loves the book. But this quote from James Hannaham, author of Delicious Foods, and I hope I'm saying his name correctly. This is what he says. If Dean Street, which is the street in Borum Hill, which this book is set, if Dean Street could talk, Brooklyn crime novel would be its voice, and it would serve up a half-century of Brooklyn's dirt, fractured multicultural dreams, waves of gentrification, black mayonnaise, while confessing its many crimes, from shoplifted magazines to blockbusting to murder, an intricate, spellbinding tour of the soul of Brooklyn as it casts off Manhattan's shadow. Goodbye. Isn't that an amazing quote? Jonathan Latham, so cool. Nice.
All right. Oh, Kimberly wants to know, is this autobiographical?
Well, I don't want to say, because I'm not, I mean, it is where he grew up. And so, but it's strictly it's a coming of age, fiction crime novel. So that's all I can say, because I don't know, but I can find out. But it's certainly infused and informed by his life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's a great question, and I'll find out. I'll find out from the editor. In fact, I'll ask right now and see if she can get back to us in the next 6 minutes. Okay.
All righty. So The Librarianist by Patrick DeWitt. This one we're very excited for, and I know all of you are. This jacket is just chef's kiss. Patrick wrote the novels French Exit, The Sisters, and others. French Exit was a huge bestseller and received rave reviews and was made into a movie starring Michelle Pfeiffer. And so in The Librarianist, as the cover shows you, it's very library centric. The main character is Bob Comet, who is a librarian. He's retired when the book opens, but then it goes back in time to when he works at the library, and he's a bit of an introvert and a loner, and he really finds his home in all of his books. And I mean, same, I get that, finding your home in books, but books are really they open the world to him if he's not able to go himself. He's a huge reader, and it's set in Portland, Oregon. And it goes from his childhood and runaway adventures during the last days of the Second World War, and then further on to True Love Won and Love Kind of Stolen Away. And then it goes into this purpose and pride he's found working as a librarian. And novels about finding a renewed life and meaning in golden years, Remarkably Bright Creatures, A Man Called Ove, or I'm even thinking of like Arjun, that new part of life novels that are just, they tug at the heartstrings as well. I think if you like those, this is up your alley, but also it's got a library card on the cover. So I really don't know what else I can tell you.
Very exciting.
Oh, and it comes out in July 4th.
And the Peter Swanson's book, The Christmas Guest, which is not coming out until October, but someone asked in one of the Facebook promotions, are you going to be talking about Peter Swanson's book? So we are now. It's The Christmas Guest. It's coming out in October. Peter Swanson, he's written so many great books. The Kind Worth Killing, Every Value Break, 9 Lives Before She Knew Him. Oh my God. I mean, his books are, if you have never read him, you're in for a treat, because he is a great, he's a great suspenseful writer. And this book is a novella about an American art student who is invited to join a classmate for the holidays at Starwood Hall, where she's surrounded by Christmas warmth and merriment until secrets unravel and the grim history surrounding this small, irresistibly charming English village is finally revealed. He's dark. He does a slow burn. He's so good at plotting, and he's so good at characters, and he's so good at making you think one way and the answer is the other way, and being surprised at the very end. And I love that. Love that. He's gotten tons of accolades, and he's a New York Times bestselling author, and he's just terrific. So if you've not read him, please start anywhere, and you'll be hooked on Peter Swanson. I think we've gotten through all of our books and all of our events, and that's pretty exciting. Can we show the graphics one more time for Ari Melber and writers to watch? Because we're just want to make sure everybody knows about this. If you've tuned in late, guess what? Ari Melber is going to be on Facebook Live tomorrow with Barbara Jenko, former Director of Collection Development at the Brooklyn Public Library. She's a library consultant now and a huge fan of Ari Melber's. And when she said, are you going to have Ari Melber on your show? I said, oh, if we could, we would. And we are. And she is interviewing him. And that's how the magic happens. Just add water and Barbara Jenko and Ari Melber. Yay! So the January 6th report. Ari has written the forward, and it's going to be really interesting.
Video that Grace made?
Yes, please. Thank you, Lainey.
I have it up.
Thank you. Okay.
And also, Barbara is on Facebook. I saw her earlier. So,
hey, Barbara, here's the video. little teaser.
I am writing a new accounting of the coup conspiracy to overthrow the election by Donald Trump and his aides. And I'm publishing it along with the January 6th committee report when it comes out. This will be HarperCollins' official edition of the report. I'm showing you the forthcoming cover right here, and it will include what I'm writing, honestly, right now, my new original piece on the coup conspiracy to overthrow the election, available only in this book you see. You'll have the whole January 6th report and my piece on the coup conspiracy. I guess I made it through this whole announcement without quoting any lyrics, which is weird. Although, to paraphrase Rick Ross, so much action, you're gonna wanna look. Print and paper, boy. I even wrote a book. Fact check, they wrote the book. I'm writing a 10,000 word forward, but you gotta start somewhere.
He's amazing.
When we looked at that, I was like, Virginia and Lainey, I don't care what we have in this video. We need that Rick Ross quote. It needs to be part of it.
You did. And there it is. It's really neat. So super, super looking forward to this. Super excited. And then Writers to Watch will be on the 19th, Thursday, January 19th at night, 7 o'clock at night. We have this wonderful panel of authors, and we just had such a blast talking to them, just sort of like, sussing out the whole program, and it's going to be great. They're wonderful, and they all have a really interesting story to tell. So there we go. It's going to be great. Led by Gail Tsukiyama, Nicole Chung, Jasmine Hakes, and Tao Tai. So get ready. And that's it. I know, me too. Me too. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. Are there any other questions, comments, anything we need to address before we go?
Let me see. Let me double check. Everybody's really excited for Ari. Some people are having issues seeing the audio icons for the e-galleys on there. And if that's the case, I see them, but maybe you don't have access to download that. Just send us an email. We'll figure it out. I'm sorry. And then I think besides that, everybody's just really excited. Sign up on
Great.
Crowdcast. You can follow us and you'll get all the information, and all of the Writers to Watch e-galleys are available. So you can get reading.
Yeah. Oh my God, so cool. Thank you. Thank you all. We're turning a new page. We're always having fun. We're excited to bring as many books to you as we can, while being respectful of your time. So we hope that this is digestible for you. And we won't be doing this every Tuesday. We have our set thing. We're going to do Galley Gab Fest once a month. We're going to do Writers to Watch once a month. We're going to have podcast stuff up once a month, or twice a month. And you never know. There may be the occasional, hey, guess what? We have Ari Melber coming on with Barbara Jenko. Tune in. So you see, you never know.
Yeah.
Thank you all. And all the best to you and those you love in 2023.
Yeah. February 7th is our next Galley Gab Fest. We have it in there. So.
And then the next day you get to watch Virginia buzz on LJ's spring preview. Lots of exciting things.
Yes. Spring is busting out all over. All right, I'm dating myself. Bye all. Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.